It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
To the program, we have Jan Morgan. Thanks for coming back on, Jan.
Hi, Paul. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic this morning. The real question is, how are you? You're doing like 19-hour days now.
You know, we've been doing 19-hour days, Paul, for a long time, for months. But, hey, that's okay because it's kind of like getting back to the old days of campaigning before you had, TV advertising and social media marketing. It's actually getting out there, meeting the people, shaking their hands, listening to the issues they're concerned about, and then talking about your solutions. It's tough, but it's been very rewarding. And honestly, I would not take for the experience I've had over the past 8 months, traveling the state and meeting people.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much about different areas of our state and the specific issues that they're having that our government is not addressing, as well as I've learned a lot about our state business.
Yeah.
A lot I wish I hadn't found out, but, because it's almost overwhelming. You talk about a lot on your show, the corruption and the things going on, and it's even much, much, much deeper than we've even gotten into. So, I've been saying from the beginning, we are in a crisis moment in our state, and we're either going to turn the opposite direction, the people are going to take control, or we're going to continue down this path of excessive spending, excessive taxation, and corruption. That's the bottom line.
You guys are also, though, having fun on the campaign trail. I saw where, Reggie, who your Facebook Live videos, which do, obviously really well, he's always driving you. You always make sure to say, hey, I'm not doing a Facebook Live video while driving. But you guys have a good time because I know, he took a photo while, you were getting a little catnap, trying to, and that was fun because that got posted on social media. And I'm just like, these guys are out there. You guys are regular people. You're trying to make a difference, and you're having a good time while doing it. And I think that's just so refreshing.
Yes, it is, and I'm gonna miss that. We were talking the other day on the way home from somewhere, and we were laughing, and I said, "Gosh, we have spent so much time together, the four of us, and trying to get across this state every single day, really in a vehicle, 4 and 5, 6, 8 hours of driving a day, moving from one end of the state together." I said, "What? If we don't win this, when this is over, I'm going to miss you all." Mm-hmm. And they said, well, about once a month we can just get in the truck and drive across the state and talk to people.
That would be great. That would be great.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be great because, we want you to win, Jan. I mean, I think at this point you're the only one. I mean, you're speaking against the corruption. You're the obvious choice, and the fact that you're in this race has made Asa have to take all these conservative positions that he wouldn't have otherwise taken, and I think it's such a good, a positive thing that in and of itself. But I want to talk about the prime. Go ahead. Well, hang on. I'll let
it's also
go ahead.
Well, it's also it's forced Asa to go places he's never gone.
Yeah.
For example, this weekend, just a couple of days ago, we were up in an area of the state. Let's think of where we were. It's hard to remember from one day to the next. We were up in Marshall, Arkansas, and then another little town that I think they've never seen the governor. And someone with the Republican Party that came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for coming here because you came here. The governor came here today to speak as well." And she said, the fact is, the very fact that he showed up in our little town where he's never even acknowledged our existence tells me that he knows he's in trouble.
Yeah. No, he is. I think at this point he is. Everything he's doing is kind of indicative of somebody who is very cautious about this election. Now, I want to talk to you about in 2016, Donald Trump. He won the primary here in the state of Arkansas. Ted Cruz came in second, Marco Rubio came in third. Now, in that primary, there were voters who came out who've never participated in the process before. And that, I believe, is why Ace is worried, because if those people, if we have another 2016 and those people who are now kind of on the radar because we know that they voted, if they come out and they vote anti-establishment like they did when they voted for Donald Trump, and for sure we can now say 100% Donald Trump was the anti-establishment candidate, it's going to be a very close race, Jan.
Yes, and these people are a little confused. We're having events across the state, Paul, that are not connected with the Republican Party. See, their way of doing things is just the Republican Party is king of where you put all of your ducks. You just go speak to the committees. You make sure you have the Republican Party, the establishment of the party, in your hands, and that's all you have to worry about. Well, my presence in this race from the very beginning, the establishment side of the party has been cutting me out, and that's because Asa and his people pressured them to not let me speak. So we immediately, conservatives in areas all over the state who aren't even active members of the Republican Party because they are sick and tired of the politics and the establishment positions on issues. So they started having their own events. Jan Morgan, just come to our city, we'll have a Jan Morgan for Governor event. And so his people were saying, well, who invited y'all here? Who's sponsoring those events? And we're saying, real people, just people.
Yep.
They don't know what to do about that. They don't know how to address that. They don't know what to do about a candidate who's not reliant on the establishment Republican Party acceptance to gain votes and to gain opportunities to speak. And now, the establishment of the party in many pockets has had to allow us to speak at their committee meetings. And they may sit there with their arms folded and grimaces on their faces, as I'm speaking, but they know I'm telling the truth.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really good point. I actually hadn't thought of that. What you're saying there is the fact that Asa tried to control the county committees and get you disinvited or put pressure to have you disinvited, that actually got your message out to more people because then they have their own events. I mean, that actually is,
right.
They're kind of the cause of their own demise in that case.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes, exactly. And that makes people angry. The more they try to shut me out, the more angry the populace becomes. So it seems like almost everything that he and his people have done, their attacks on me, the personal attacks, the calling me Jezebel, the calling me a spirit, everything that they've done has actually backfired and helped me more than hurt me. And really, honestly, Paul, what else are they going to say about me? She's conservative. She's too conservative. I mean, what can they attack me on?
Yeah.
It's just not there.
And there was a bogus attack on you last week that went out on Twitter by
right.
a spouse of a government or ACE's employee, and that was
right.
it was disproven immediately. And really the only reason I want to bring this up, Jan, because I'd like to have you address it, but because it was the government that messed up. And that's what's so interesting
right.
about it is they do this phony attack saying you owe back taxes. You debunk it with documents, verifiable proof from the government. Say our bad, we made a mistake.
I don't know any taxes, right?
Yeah, you owe no taxes.
Right.
Let's be very clear. You owe no taxes. Tell us about the mix-up.
Well, the mix-up was that I worked in Texarkana, Arkansas at the time and lived in Texarkana, Arkansas. And as people may or may not know, Texarkana, Arkansas residents are exempt from the state income tax, and that's because we live in a border city that is bordered by Texarkana, Texas, where there is no state income tax. And in order for Texarkana, Arkansas to be competitive, the state years ago of Arkansas gave us that exemption. So if you live and work in Texarkana, Arkansas, you do not have to pay state income tax. Well, that's where I lived and worked for years and years. And then when I moved to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and that year that I moved to Hot Springs and I filed my taxes, the state came back because they had my new Hot Springs address, and they said, oh, wait, you live in Hot Springs. You should have been paying state income taxes. You owe taxes for all these years. And then I had to go back and prove to them with my residential records and my employment records and a note from my employee, and I cleared it all up. It took about 30 days for me to get all the paperwork in order, but once it was cleared, the state said, oh, okay, we see what's happened here. I guess their computer system messed up and just kicked that out. And it was fixed. I didn't have to pay them all that $7,000 because I didn't owe it. I never owed it. It was a mistake on their part. So that was clear, and it was over with. But all ASIS people wanted to do is find that initial document from the state that said, oh, you owe all these years in taxes, and they produced that. But yet they also, out of that same file, didn't bother to produce the next piece of paper, which is that I'm free and clear. So that, but that's always the way Asa, that's the way his whole campaign has gone. That's the way he legislates. That's the way he governs. He governs that way. It's shell games and games rather than just being honest with the people.
Yeah.
And once we proved it, people said, okay, this is over with, except that it's never over with this person because that's all they can hold on to, and they want to try to just keep on. But that's hurting them, once again, more than it's helping them.
No, it is, because it was, and it shows you that they are, they're getting their water boys. Again, this was all put out there by the spouse of an Asa Hutchinson employee that makes $83,000 a year in the governor's office.
Right.
And so you
Right.
kind of think, if Asa loses this, my household's going to lose $83,000. I mean, and it's verifiable. You can look all that up. We talked about it. And so you just get,
Right.
Anybody whose wallet's going to get lighter from Asa Hutchinson losing, well, it's obvious how they're going to vote. But there's a lot more
Well,
votes than there
actually-
are government employees.
Yes, there are. But actually, if you look at the people right now, if you look at the little list of the people who are yelling the loudest about my presence in this race, Paul, if you want to know who benefits the most off of this gravy train of corruption that we have in Little Rock, look at the people who have nothing to do with this race and yet are yelling the loudest about Jan Morgan.
Yeah.
Those are the people you need to look at and say, okay, what is the motive there? And it's always going to be about money. There's always a money trail. So.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what?
is.
Speaking of money, this whole issue with my getting that tax exemption while I was living in Texas and Arkansas brings up the fact that I am the only candidate in this race who's truly talking about how we need to make that possible for all people in Arkansas. We need to get to the point where we don't have a state income tax for all people, not just Texas and Arkansas residents. I'm the only candidate who's out there saying this is the direction we need to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the fact that Texarkana has to have that special exemption is a rebuke, and on everybody else, on the whole system. It's saying that we're overtaxed and we're overregulated, and we need more money. And that's what you've been saying. We got to have more money back into the hands of the people.
Absolutely, or we can't continue to compete, and it's hurting us. We're surrounded by states that don't have a state income tax, and the people on the streets, I'm listening to them and talking to them. The tax burden is outrageous. And the fact that our governor, his tax reform commission, my opponent's tax reform commission is looking at more ways to get more tax money out of the people is egregious. That should cost him this election in itself. His stance on constitutional carry and the fact that he will not clarify for the people that we have constitutional carry in this state, that stance should cost him this election. We could just go on and on.
Well,
There's so many issues. And the only reason he may not be in trouble is because of uneducated, low-information voters.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully, they're getting your message. Hopefully, they're getting Conduit News. Using this platform to say, "Hey, these are the issues that the people are concerned about." Let's talk about constitutional carry for a second, okay?
Okay. All right.
Because this is a really good. I want to use this as an example of people who get new information, and then they're able to change their minds based on what the facts are. And so with constitutional carry, there was a time where you subscribed to the concept that you had to have a permit to carry concealed.
To carry a
Correct.
gun in Arkansas, right? To carry concealed. And the reason I thought that, Paul, is because I was in the process of becoming an Arkansas State Police concealed handgun license instructor. I was taking the classes, and at that time, I was new to Hot Springs, and that's what we were being taught. Arkansas State Police were teaching instructors, you have to have a license to conceal carry. And according to Justin McDaniel, who was the Attorney General back then, that was his position, okay? So I was simply saying, look, this is what, and that's what I said. That's what I said on the Internet. That's what I said on social media. According to our Attorney General and according to Arkansas State Police, you have to have a license to conceal carry. That was a fact that I was being taught by state police. So, that's what I was simply telling the people based on what, we were, who would have thought that state police would be misleading instructors in this state? And who would have thought that your Attorney General at that time would misrepresent the truth to the people? So I was simply saying what we were being told.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I got an education thanks to that Patriots Act 746. They said, hey, Jan, have you read the Arkansas Constitution, Article 2 of the Arkansas Constitution? And back then, no, I had not sat down and read the Arkansas Constitution. I was, inundated with paperwork and learning what I had to learn to teach those classes. So I did, and once I learned, I said, oh, so you mean state police are misleading the people, they're misleading instructors in this state, concealed handgun license instructors, so is our Attorney General. And that's when I started getting involved in the fight locally. I have always believed in and supported constitutional carry, Paul. I've been fighting for that on a national level for years, long before I got in the fight in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
So I was glad to find it out. Then I got in the fight here to educate people.
I'm so encouraged to hear that. I wanted to highlight that because I wanted people to know, you have the correct stance now according to what the statutes are, and yet
yes, but my opponent does not.
Mm-hmm.
My opponent does not. But yes, his little water boys will say, "Look, Jan Morgan didn't know, and she was misleading the people." Well, that was years ago. I'm telling people the truth now because I found out the truth. But what about your guy, folks? What about the current governor? Why is he misleading the people? I showed a screenshot from his Arkansas Asa for Governor page, a screenshot from just a few months back. I saved it where he said, Arkansas is a constitutional carry state, but that is not inconsistent with the licensing requirements. You can still carry, and you should still check with your county prosecutor because it's subject to interpretation. That is a quote from our current governor.
And he's doing that, in a lot of ways to protect the Arkansas State budget, but our Arkansas State Police budget. But I honestly believe he doesn't truly believe in it. I think he believes in the permission slip thing. I think that's what he's comfortable with. Licensing your right back to you. That is more what he believes.
The governor has never been on the right side of this issue to begin with. He has, which is why I got a higher NRA score than he did, because he went on national television as a spokesperson for the NRA several years ago on CNN and supported expanded background checks. See, then the NRA had to come behind him and try to clean up that mess because, of course, the NRA doesn't support expanded background checks. And then he came out with what he said, on his social media pages. So he's in a lot of trouble on the Second Amendment.
And this brings it
very hard to convince people otherwise.
Brings it full circle, Jan, because he also took that photo last year with Moms Demand Action when he passed the enhanced carry mess and everything else. And I mean that really is full circle because that's when you got involved, in this specific issue that led you to realize, according to, I've heard you talk about this many times, hey, we've got this Republican trifecta, and yet we've got Republicans fighting against gun rights?
Right. Yeah, it was, that was the most horrible thing for him to do, to sit down and meet with Moms Demand Action and take cozy, friendly pictures with them so that they could go on social media and brag about, look, we got to meet with the governor today, and we had our time with the governor, and he was so nice. And, he's arm in arm with Moms Demand Action while Senator Linda Collins Smith and other conservatives were battling with ASA's water boy Republicans on issues that involved removing rights, taking away rights of armed Americans in Arkansas. So and it took us months to get in to see him after that.
Yep.
To share our side, but he certainly made time for Moms Demand Action. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, it really does. The radical anti-Second Amendment group, Moms Demand Action. Jan, I know you got to go. I know you've got a busy campaign day. Jan Morgan, I appreciate it so much, and I'd love to talk to you soon. And I'll give you the last word. Early voting's underway.
Early voting's underway. Don't forget, always remember this, folks. Asa Hutchinson refused to debate me. I challenged him from day one, the day that we announced we were running. That was on January 1. We've been formally challenging him every single day. He still refuses to debate me. That speaks volumes about his fear of facing me and facing the public and having to defend his unacceptable establishment progressive tax and spend big government record.
Yeah. Jan Morgan, I appreciate it. Folks, we've got to go to break. Don't go anywhere. Back in just a moment.